So I came across this article, very, very interesting article, and I wanted to share this with you guys and kind of show you and go over my thoughts. I think it's something that's very, very interesting. Walmart's chief merchandising officer to depart as retailer navigates tough sales environment. Walmart Chief Merchandising Officer Charles Redfield is stepping down next month. Walmart U.S. CEO John Furner said in an employee memo on Friday that Redfield will leave the role on May 1st to spend more time with his family. He will stay on as an advisor for the business. The Wall Street Journal first reported Redfield's departure. Redfield, a 32-year veteran of Walmart, is leaving as retailers navigate a tougher sales environment. Walmart in February gave a weaker than expected outlook for the fiscal year ahead, saying it expects same-store sales for Walmart US to rise between 2% and 2.5% excluding fuel. Don't you wish that your bad reports always still ended in growth, just not fast enough growth? Wouldn't that be great? The company reiterated that focus at an investor event last week in Tampa, Florida. CEO Doug McMillon told CNBC that consumers are more price sensitive as food, housing, and other items cost more because of inflation. That has led to less spending on items like clothing and electronics. So this is a massive move. And this is where the meat of this really hits, and I really wanted to share this with you guys. They just don't have as many dollars to buy discretionary goods, he said. And a lot of those people bought a lot of discretionary goods during 2020 and 2021. During 2020, 2021. Now here, listen to what he lists. New patio sets, new televisions. They only have to have one, so that mix impact is something we have to manage, and that's one of the reasons why our guidance is the place where it is. Redfield became Walmart's chief merchandising officer in January 2022, overseeing relationships with suppliers and the company's strategy across categories from food to general merchandise, and then blah blah blah. So this is very interesting. It says, Redfield was a true advocate for the customer, especially as costs have risen, Furner said in the company-wide email Friday. So this is really interesting because 2020, 2021, what was going on in 2020 and 2021? And obviously, YouTube doesn't like it when you say it, but I mean, pretty much what we're talking about here is, your situation going on in those years. And if anyone remembers in that situation, so he's talking about how people compared to 2021, new patio sets, new televisions, most every store was shut down or limited. I mean, so limited. I remember, in certain towns, like I remember there was a Nike factory outlet store near where we lived, and there was like a line out the door all the way down the road at all times of the day, because they could only allow like 5 or 6 people in the whole store at a time due to the limitations and all that kind of stuff within the store. So it was just a lot of stuff was happening, and everything was kind of shut down, and the only thing that was open was big box retailers. And then this other situation is that everyone was I know a lot of people went through some hardship. I'm not trying to down anybody's hardship, but everyone was saving money due to not being able to go to work and having to work from home, or making some money, making more money than they were making because of special programs through the government. So everyone had all this excess cash that they were spending in being able to buy certain things. It's just funny how this guy says people bought a lot of discretionary goods during 2020 and 2021. Well, yeah, that's what happens. Like when a lot of people have discretionary money, but I'm not saying that this guy's not understanding that, but I'm just looking at that email saying, man, this is a big transition. Now we're rolling into this new next season of hardship, and the trend is changing dramatically. Let me show you this other article here that I found. So this is another article. Walmart sells Barnabas. I don't know what the proper pronunciation is for that. Sorry. But it sells them to a different company in a $75 million deal. And essentially they're taking a hit on it. So Walmart has sold its menwear brand to WHP Global and Express in a $75 million deal. It's the second time this year Walmart has offloaded a direct-to-consumer brand that it bought under former e-commerce president Mark Lohr after it sold Moose Jaw to Dick's Sporting Goods in February. Walmart originally purchased it in 2017 for $310 million. They're offloading it for $75 million. While it was attempting to grow its online presence and compete with Amazon under Lohr, who founded Jet.com. It was just one of the direct-to-consumer brands the mega retailer picked up under his tenure and later sold, including Bare Necessities, Shoes.com, and ModCloth. Lohr left Walmart in 2021, right in the middle of this situation. So anyways, let me see if I can scroll down here, because there's one part I wanted to show you. Okay. It says, this transaction, once the acquisition is finalized, the WH portfolio will include more than 10 consumer brands. They're nearly 7 million. In a statement, a Walmart spokesperson said the company decided it's the right time to sell after nearly 6 years. It joined the Walmart family to expand our assortment and expertise in menswear. Since acquiring, Walmart.com has grown from 70 million to hundreds of millions of items. Online sales accounted for about 53.4 billion, or nearly 13% of Walmart US total net sales in the past fiscal year, which ended in late January. According to company filings, that's a jump. Last February, launch was more affordable. A few months ago, Walmart decided to discontinue the brand because it overlapped with its men's activewear and casual lines. John Hickinson will become the brand president. This is an exciting moment for Momos as we embark on the next phase of our growth. Born a digitally native, this fits in with what is transpiring in that other article, saying how they're offloading discretionary funds and they're offloading all of these are offloading discretionary goods, and that it's not being spent. That people are not purchasing it as much as they have before. And so you have this situation where they're offloading brands, they're making a massive change, making a massive transition, taking a hit on that sale and just pushing it off because they don't want to manage the brand anymore. And this is kind of what I wanted to highlight today and go over and talk about in our video here, because you have a situation here, and this is just anecdotal, but you had the situation where a lot of the other competitors to these companies, a lot of the other people were not even able to do business during this time period, 2020 and 2021. So a lot of these big box retailers saw surges in their sales, in their stock prices. I mean, I had investments in Walmart that were performing very, very well during that time, and so you have these successes now. And I'm not saying Walmart did this, because it doesn't sound, no one insinuated this. No one, the guy that they were interviewing in here didn't insinuate that they were making plans around the type of spending habits that were taking place in 2020 and 2021. But just as an anecdotal story, we have friends in retail, we have friends in direct consumer type companies that were experiencing massive uptrends in their sales and in their sales goals, and unfortunately at the time they experienced a massive uptrend in their targets brought on by the upper echelons of the organizations they were with, and they basically were struck with nearly impossible sales goals for the following seasons, because there was no thought from upper management on where these sales were coming from. So as a result, the good companies left, or good employees left the company, because they saw on the street or on the ground level, like, this is not normal. Like, we can't continue this trend going into these following years if the certain extenuating circumstances don't remain in play. We won't be the only game in town. And so it really makes you think. You have to watch success to the same level of detail you would watch failure. Don't deceive yourself by making a wave or mistaking a wave for an achievement. Like, you'll hear companies get up and they'll be like, our strong products, our strong team, our strong system is what's causing these sales. because if you don't fall into this trap, you'll be able to recognize when to get off the wave. Like, you celebrate the wins, but you also focus on the cause. Most people only focus on details and data and trends and why stuff is happening when failure is about. And a lot of people don't ever take the time to focus on it when success is about. Like, what is causing the success? Why is this happening? Market trends and consumer habits are not returning to normal, but are massively changing. And so being fluid and having solid and strict data capturing processes is the way to keep up with these trends, is the way to keep up with what's going on. And obviously Walmart is making massive changes, and that's a very good wave to see how the trend is changing, right? Like, they are seeing that these discretionary items, like the guy said, the patio sets, the electronics, all of these things that are not really ranked. I think somewhere in this article, he even specifically talks about clothing. Yeah, here it is. That has led to less spending on items like clothing and electronics. That's what I was trying to find earlier. That, like, clothing and electronics. And so it's so crazy that this person, Doug McMillan, would say this specifically, and then you see this other article where they're offloading a clothing brand. So they can see how the sales have gone down so much that for the second time this year alone, in 2023, they've already offloaded another brand. This is a massive shift. So you have to, give credit where credit is due, that they're recognizing the trend and they're moving on it, which I think they've always kind of been good at. But you have to be able to recognize that and see that keep that in focus even during the times of success, because now I know a lot of organizations that have pushed away good staff because they set these impossible goals, they set these impossible workloads, thinking that this was going to be the trend moving forward, and it very much wasn't. And so just, I think that we can learn a lesson from this. These big box retailers, all of these smaller businesses and all these smaller people, were paying the price in 2020, 2021. And now it feels like in going into 2023 and going into 2024, now the big box retailers are going to pay the price for what happened. And not everyone is safe, because they've really created a situation here where we have to, figure out how to navigate this trend as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who's going out and trying to make things happen, recognizing where people are at and recognizing, how to create value for someone in a market like this, where discretionary items and discretionary things and things that are considered, extra, are not necessarily going to be selling as hot or selling as good, as they were in this earlier time period, because we had all of these different things happening that caused the changes. And so be aware, be focused, stay vigilant, even in the success, even when you're experiencing massive success. Sit down, be sober and sober-minded, and ask yourself, what is causing this? Is it that our brand is finally being recognized? Is it that our products are that good? Is it that we're that amazing? Or is there other circumstances? Because when you're sober like that, like I said earlier, you'll celebrate the wins, but you'll focus on the cause, and you'll recognize when it's time to get off the wave. Like that, the waves happen. I remember I would have waves so many times in different, sales positions and different, even in different companies, we would experience waves where sales would be up, and we, instead of, you don't want to hyper focus in on that to a point where you're like, oh, this is the way it's going to be moving forward, but you're able to recognize, hey, this is the wave, we're going to enjoy it, and then when it comes down, we're not going to freak out. We understand that we got to change strategy and change transition. But a lot of people focus on vanity metrics and vanity facts, and they don't focus on real data that supports action. Do not sit there and say, look at the giant sales numbers we're hitting, let's set these goals even higher. And you have to focus on real data. Real data is how you stay alive, not vanity data. And I hope you can understand what I mean by that. But vanity data is data that just kind of strokes your ego, but doesn't actually help you make a valid, good decision. And so you have to be on real data. So yeah. And that, that right there is proof enough. Even them offloading that brand is an admitted effort to change focus. And in light of everything that's going on, the fact that they're offloading that brand at a loss like that, it shows you. And I know that they probably made money over the brand. They're probably not freaking out about it. It's probably not that big of a deal. So it's probably not a big deal for them to offload it at the low cost. But it shows you a massive hyper focus at a change to the strategy. And we have to be willing to do the same. So I hope that helps you out. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a little something I wanted to share with you, just to kind of something that I find interesting. So I hope that you find it interesting too. And I will catch you guys in the next one.